Hello, my name's Ryan, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Black & Decker Ci500 micro solder station, which is this beautiful tool right here. Now, a micro solder is something that allows you to practically mold metal together and fusing items by getting this tip very hot and using this wire to melt something to said object. As we can see here, these terminals were previously not working. This little ball of metal right here is what happens once you solder something, which allows for a permanent connection with no worries about separation. In the kit, we get a set of multiple heads, including a plastic welding head, which comes in handy, as well as a cutter, which usually you would fit a blade in the tip and it would heat up, allow you to cut easier, and multiple different sort of tips, like a smaller plastic solder, a thicker cutter for like the harder, thicker stuff, as well as multiple types of heads for soldering. This kit will run you back about 50 bucks Canadian. And from what I've recently seen from using it, it is a very solid kit. I have had no issues, and the little arms come in handy for holding stuff still while you're trying to solder, which is usually a big problem with trying to get the right angle and trying to hold everything without burning yourself. So it definitely comes in handy. And for the price I got this one at a model shop for about 20 bucks. I got it on sale. And like I said, I have had no issues yet, and I feel like it's a very solid set, especially for starters. It does not include solder, so you will have to go out and get solder, which is pretty cheap. I mean, you can go to Canadian Tire in the tool section and find this roll for like 10, 12 bucks, and this is for smaller stuff like the motor I soldered there. And all in all, it's a very nice kit. It's got two functions for high temp and low temp. As well as it is a 240 volt system. And the base is pretty nice. It's got an issue of kind of tipping, and the head kind of comes out occasionally, but it's got a nice little feature in the back where it can store your tools in there and you can't lose them at that point. This little pad here helps you to clean off the tip of the soldering iron whether it gets dirty or anything else. So it comes in handy. If I had to do a review and suggestion, this is very good for beginners. I personally would suggest it for beginners, as it is cheap to start with, as well as it's a very solid kit. Black & Decker is always a good tool company. For the price, it's solid. I mean, the materials are good. I mean, I can look over the faults for that kind of price. If I had to change anything on this, I'd say the base needs to be a little bit more solid, and they need to kind of solidify this in the holder. But for size-wise, it's very nice. It doesn't take up much room on a desk, and it can plug directly into a regular socket port, or even like this. Here's the plug right here. It's pretty solid. It's not too big, and it plugs directly in. And that's about all I have for that. And like I said, I personally suggest it for beginners. I personally really like using it because it heats up very fast and it stays hot for that consistent amount of time, whereas some soldering irons will get hot and then it'll lose a lot of heat. So honestly, the way that this is set up, it works very well for what it is, and it works amazingly for the price. And it's got multi-use, which definitely comes in handy with a bunch of different heads. And I suggest it for beginners. And that's about all I really have to say for that. Thank you for listening.